Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with arguably the best Protoss out there. Not the one we deserve, but the one we need right now. In the blue, it's hero. Facing off against herO's greatest stunt double, the Rocky Zerg in the red, we have Solar in a best-of-5 Protoss versus Zerg Grand Finals. And yeah, we got a new balance patch, some new maps, but the same way me begging you to smash that like button. Maybe even subscribe. And we got the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,735 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As the Overlord pokes in and spots hero with a surprisingly coherent wall-off, not putting the pylon in a vulnerable spot, but the Overlord itself is a bit vulnerable. Hero goes for a Stalker second. The Overlord trying to find the Pervert Pillar, but that's more like a energy-based buffet table there. And, well, Solar... No, he's... Yep, well... Witness me! Overlord goes down, and that's going to be an awkward start for Solar. As losing your very first Overlord right off the bat is not something you're usually pricing in. He has to build another one in order to add any more drones. First Oracle comes out. The Zerglings coming across the map. But there's already 2 Adepts. Slaps down the 3rd from that fancy dimensional backpack the Probe is somehow carrying around. And very simply, with the threat of Oracles and the existence of Adepts, there is no way to... reliably delay that 3rd base. So we're going to go with the much more standard, but less dramatic strategy of absorbing the damage back at home, politely yet firmly asking the Oracle to leave with the Queen's knitting needles, and then really just try to keep tabs on things. A couple of depths forward. More being warped in. A Twilight Council is on the way. No Forge. He's got 2 gases at the natural, so usually... Now... Hero has reinvented Protoss so many times that I'm not actually sure where we started. Hero feels like a copy of a copy of a copy, but all of himself somehow. It's like when if cloning had gone horribly wrong, or maybe horribly right. But the Shady Bunch coming in, the Oracle's cover for masses of Zerglings that might try to surround. The Queens will have to make do as they come close to the Spore Crawler, but Adepts end up with 3 kills with the shade away shots. And the Oracles will discourage the Zerglings from pursuing any further. Meanwhile, Blink is on the way, just slapping down a few more gates. No Forge at all for Hero. Yeah, just some more gateway. Looks like he wants to put together in early timing. And Solar without that many drones. Building Zerglings early. Larva is one of your most valuable resources. And when your Queens are running around chasing Oracles and Adepts, and you don't have a 4th base ready yet, you simply just don't have that much Larva to work with. Every set of Zerglings is a potential drone. And being forced into this many Zerglings early has already successfully limited Solar's economy to the point that he might be vulnerable to a follow-up timing. And Hero does not have any other tech. His tech tree right now is more of a shrubbery. He's got a Stargate on one side, he's got Blink on the other, and now the Stalkers are going to be popping out from behind it. Solar must be famous. That 4th hatchery is on the way, but it's far from established, and Hero is not far from it. And if he blinks, Solar might be missing it. The Queens, there's not creep, they're going to march off of it anyways. They need something, otherwise the Oracles can just cover for this. Now on their way across the map, the hatchery badly bruised. Adept shading in towards the 3rd, actually completes the shade. The Zerglings drawn away the Queens, and one targeted down. Assassinates 1 Queen, a couple stasis at the back, casual force field, zones out the rest, will freeze some of the Zerglings, more coming across the map. +1 melee attack in 2 seconds will help them take out the ankles of the Stalkers, but the Oracle's still overhead with some energy. Another Queen is just melted under the Oracles, but a 3rd one is able to take out 1. And now the Stalker count starting to dwindle as the Zerglings nibbling much more strongly with that +1 completed. They find a nice little position to tuck themselves into, and reinforcements are coming across the map as The Stalker count is still high enough to threaten. Solar clearly not anticipating the level of commitment that hero has to these Stalkers. Usually, this at best, or at worst, is cover for a Templar Archives, for Storm. But hero just keeps warping in Stalkers. There's charge on the way. He just started +1. Solar, on the other hand, is opting for Hydras, but he doesn't. The Zerglings went to the other side. He doesn't have that many in front. And Hydras on their own are relatively fragile creatures. They're kind of glass cannons, just like the Stalkers themselves, but Hydras can't blink. All right, they probably have those weird reptilian eyes. Another queen gonna be, well, assassinated. And some more Zerglings underneath. But Zealots charging forward. A small Zergling counterattack tried to hit the 4th. And Solar is stabilizing. But his Hydra count, well, another wave of charge lots. He's just raw dogging those warp-ins on the other side of the map with no warp prism, just warping it all the way back at home like a pleb or a Terran. But I didn't mean to be redundant. The Hydra count is growing, but the worker count is dead even. Hero has a 4th base up and running. He's keeping the pressure on, but behind this, no Templar Archives, no Robo Bay, no sort of splash damage. Does he even have a Robo? No, he just started a Robo. I just kind of assumed he would have one, but I don't know why. The charge lot's out in front, and again, the Zerglings are sliced through, and the Stalkers are able to target the Hydras much more reliably. The charge lot's keeping the Hydra count down, because right now, the major threat to hero is a critical mass of Hydras. Without splash damage, the sheer damage output of the Hydralisk, cost per cost, is far greater than the Stalkers or even the Zealots. If he gets enough Hydras to literally cover for one another, if the biomass prevents the Zealots from getting the surface area, then the Hydras will just kind of slice through everything. But hero is aware of that. Solar actually down 6. Hero's just taking a 5th base. Yeah, why not? A bunch of charge lots headed towards the natural. The Hydras and Lings gonna take out the base down the center. The Banelings are rolling at 7 and 13 probes. Hero reacts, but far too late. More of a death rattle there. As the charge lots at the Natchery, gonna drag some of the army back. Hero trying to chase with Blink Stalkers. Banelings down the center. And playing with fire here, but Hero's been burned before, and I think he likes it. Meanwhile, Solar still on 4 hatcheries. 68 to 65 workers. Despite the losses, Hero's still quite close. The emotional support fields will mildly inconvenience the Hydras and Lings enough that he'll turn around for now. And a robotics bay is the choice. He's... Jimmy! What? Tropical lag storm we're going through here. Jimmy, get off the phone! Not sure. But the Hydras and Lynx on their way across. More Banelings on the way. And without splash damage, it becomes... The sheer amount of units becomes very hard to deal with. There's a reason why Protoss favors that splash damage in almost every scenario. Hero, on the other hand, being creative, but being creative doesn't necessarily mean good. The charge lots will slice through a stasis on some Banelings at the natural, creating quite an awkward scenario. We'll see if Hero actually notices / remembers, though object permanence I'm not entirely sure is his strong suit. Meanwhile, Guardian Shield rolls through Banelings. We'll get some splash damage across the board on the Stalkers, and oh my, the Banelings at the natural just obliterate the entire mineral line. And Hero's economy up in, not smoke, like an acidic explosion. I guess there's probably some smoke there. The point being, he's down to 45 probes. He managed to take out the hatchery on the other side, but Solar has expanded down the center. A single Colossus has a colossal task of taking this all out, but the Hydras and Lings are exceedingly vulnerable, and he's actually going to clean up the Hydras. As the Zerglings melted by the Colossus, extended thermal lance halfway there. Mine's been there for most of this game, and The sentries coming out. Doesn't even have a Templar archives. hero stepping forward. And we're in such a unique scenario. We've been on this mid-game economy so long that Solar can't easily transition into Lurkers and or Vipers. Though it seems like he's angling that direction now. In a more macro-oriented game where they both haven't punched each other in the face quite so hard, usually the economies would be high enough that one hero would just kind of skip the idea of Colossi because it'd be easy enough for Solar to go to Hive, and Vipers are an existential threat. Alright, that long-range harpoon, the abduct, the super tongue, as nobody calls it, is... Especially if he doesn't have a Templar archives, there's no way to deal with the Vipers. Feedback is one of the most useful. Obviously, even more useful is just outright killing them, but that's very hard to do if the Zerg is paying any attention. Not sure if he attempted another base or something taken down there, but hero working on that fourth nexus. Down the center this time. Solar was forced into the same location. They both traded blows around the edges. But now finally crawling up the tech tree. We got a Lurker den and a Hive halfway there. The Banelings trickling through. The Stalkers blink back. Almost killing some of those probes on the assimilator. Did not throw the Banelings into the rocks. That's a win of sorts. But hero now, begrudgingly it seems, getting a Templar archives. As both players kind of forced back into their corners because another fight may have decided the game one way or another. They had so little to back up their armies that it wasn't really a viable option to attack for either player. And now a Lurker den is nearly complete. Vipers in production. An observer spotted the Hive completed, which is not exactly a fun time for hero, as his army is mostly Colossi and Sentries, both of which are target practice for Lurkers, to be honest. Even though Colossi have similar range to the Lurkers, it's more like a hot stone massage as opposed to any sort of real damage. Even with this many, the Colossi are going to be tripping over each other to get anywhere close. Though I think the Vipers may help them with that. He does have a Templar archives, but the Banelings rolling in again. Go through and stop right there. Citizen's arrest on a Baneling, of all things. Quite a dramatic moment. And hero has quite a bit of army supply, but the Lurker count is already headed towards double digits. Range is nearly complete. Solar clawed his way up the tech tree a little bit quicker, and hero doesn't really have the answer right now, but somehow Solar completely out of position. I don't know how hero got here without being scouted, but Solar blindsided by the Colossi, which is an impressive feat. And now he does have a Warp Prism. The sheer amount of Lurkers, though. If it was 4 or 5 Lurkers, maybe. 10 Lurkers is probably not. There are 15 Lurkers and counting, which is going to be just a strong, unequivocal... Yeah, put your fleet beacon there. That's, you know, wouldn't want to move your screen too much. Hero with the classic wall-off fleet beacon at the front, which... This is the... I know I'm supposed to get a fleet beacon, but I really don't think this game is going to last this long of fleet beacons. The 3 Archon patrol teams suffering from a lack of haste. The Zerglings almost able to get in, but stuffed at the door by a couple zealots. And now the Lurkers are going forward. The Colossi kind of casually split off and get over here. 2 Colossi pulled in, 2 Colossi knocked down, just like that. Free throws from hero. Casual blinding cloud, but nothing in this army. There's a single immortal, a couple of Archons. The floor is Lurkers. Okay. There's no storm, no Mothership. This is gonna be more one-sided than a Mobius strip right here, and I say that often, but it continues to be true. Another Colossus yanked in and sliced down. And Colossus juggled, saves the day up to the north side, but the problems will continue. I think enough energy for one more abduct. Yanks in the fresh immortal, defreshens it quickly, and the army's, it's gone. It's gone. All right, to shreds, I say. A topsy-turvy game, but when it all clears up, Solar clearly in a decisive game-winning position. Hero just, he drove so far down that gateway unit path that he couldn't really break in time and transition. I'm not entirely sure how much of it was because he forgot his forge and how much of it was because he intentionally didn't get a forge. I'm not convinced Hero knows. But almost making the blink timing work. Solar, as always, rolling with the punches, taking big hits, losing hatcheries, losing a huge chunk of his army, but maintaining. He's so good at keeping just enough alive to keep fighting. Keeping the Hydra count just high enough to make sure Hero couldn't keep trickling across Zealots like he was waterboarding him with Protoss. Solar survives. Hero stopped this time. We're on Throne of the Dunes. Another of our community maps. Honestly, one of my favorite from the Team Liquid map contest. We still don't know who won. You guys voted, right? But I'm hoping it ends up in the map pool for the next, I don't know, season, undisclosed date, intern lunch break. It's unclear exactly when. We just know it has been, at least Blizzard, the intern, or whoever's working there, which is a person, we assume, whoever implemented the last patch, which had a lot of technical fixes, which means somebody's actually working well with the editor. But I digress. At least the top 2 maps of the map contest will be in the new map pool, which implies there will be a new map pool. But community tournaments have already, for the most part, implemented some version of a community map pool, usually revolving around the Team Liquid map contest, which has the best of the community-made maps, and always has, but only recently has there been a consensus around using it, despite whatever might be on the ladder. Now, when the same maps are on the ladder for a significant percentage of Max Pax's life, aka over a year, Max Pax 21, by the way. That's all we know. Stargate in production. I'm a pretty big fan of balancing through maps as well. Though, in StarCraft 2, say compared to the Brood War, it's a lot harder to design a map with certain edges that don't favor very abusive. Like, part of the balance of Brood War is that your units are so both physically and mentally challenged that they really struggle to follow your orders efficiently. StarCraft 2 has the opposite problem. It's such a technological masterpiece of a game that is unrivaled to this day. Your units will, hundreds of them, the entirety of your 200 supply, if so ordered, will efficiently and quickly send itself directly to its death in a reliable fashion with solid pathfinding and a way you expect it to go. So there's no going back to you could only select 12 units at a time and good luck controlling more than 3 groups of Brood War. There's no going back to that. Don't be ridiculous. But as time goes on with StarCraft 2, the lack of rough edges has allowed, I feel, kind of causes the game to end up being figured out so well and it being so easy, relatively easy, say compared to Brood War, to be near perfect. Now, Hero challenges that notion. He challenges so many notions. But Hero, the proprietor and the spirit guide of the Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss who don't think good. But we'll see what he has for us today. I mean, we've already seen some. Didn't quite work out for him, but we got another casual Twilight Council. The Adepts wander into the Zerglings. Oracle comes back. Went outside. Casual stasis. Actually forces the entire middle line away. One drone sacrifices itself for a mandatory work break. Big sacrifice, alright, okay. Sign me up for a stasis. Wouldn't you take a stasis if you could get out of work for, you know, a day? Now, can they, in stasis, can the units see, hear, like, do they understand what's going on? Can they feel pain? I think no on that, but... So, because we changed it so units could move, I think the lore has changed. So there was a balance change a little while ago, a couple years, a little while in the grand scheme, where units can now be issued orders that they'll follow after the stasis. That was not true before. So, in my headcanon, now units can see and hear and understand trash talk while they're in stasis. Because otherwise, how would they know what their orders are supposed to be after the stasis? It's just they can't do anything. So they're forced to watch, right? Let the drone watch. See more of my Dronely fans after you like and subscribe on Patreon. It's gonna be Glaives, because why not? We're gonna throw a bunch of Adepts across the map and see what happens. 50 Shades with Glaives. And if it wasn't sure before, it's pretty sure now. 10 Banelings on the way. Solar has opted for Banelings. I don't know if he was suspicious of this, or if it's just a happy little accident, but the Adepts are on their way across. Oracle's overhead. Zergling's looking for an opportunity, not finding one. Hero with all his stalkers back at home. And now, the Shade, the Banelings. And, oh, sweet Tassadar. Well, okay, the Zerglings are just gonna kill the Stalker. They're gonna get in. He just completes the Shade, eats 10 Banelings directly to the face, which I'm not here to judge, but that doesn't seem particularly efficient. He still ends up killing. Hero plummets to a 2-worker lead. Well, Solar filling it in now, but Zerglings and Banelings are very larva intensive, which means Solar doesn't have a huge economy, at least not yet, to follow this up. And there's enough Glaive Adepts back at home. Casual Templar Archives with Storm on the way. There's enough Glaive Adepts back at home to shut down any sort of real attempt at a counterattack. So, task failed successfully? I don't think that was enough. 69 Zerglings dead, and 10 Banelings. It's just the quirk of the unit's lost tab that if they attack, they didn't die. They weren't lost, they succeeded. But you can actually see them in the gas lost, creating quite a bit of a conundrum there. And we saw it with our eyes. All right, if we can't trust our eyes, what can we trust? Figure out more of what to trust after you like and subscribe. No! Okay, he doesn't shade directly into the Hydras. Solar, putting together the army. He's got 4 bases, 72 drones. Hero, with some not-so-charged lots, will take his 4th base, attempt it again. Zergling, politely, asking to be let in. Gets murdered for it. Tells you who the Protoss really is. Hero with whatever this is coming across the map. Bringing everyone together. Does he have Storm? Yes. Does he have Charge? Not yes. Meanwhile, the Zerglings just cancels the 4th base. Meanwhile, some casual Templar throws out a Storm. Larger radius, less damage per second, but longer duration. So, if your Storm lasts more than 6 seconds, make sure to consult a balanced council today, but Queen's wading through. Still quite a threat to the Zerg. It's an incredibly dangerous force field. And we see a lot of players, including the Protoss themselves, still struggling to really gauge the duration. Well, thank you for demonstrating, hero, as his stalkers get their shields stripped away by his own storms. But zoning out the rest. A lot of the Hydras being psionically shredded. But still enough of them left over to be a real threat to this army. The hatchery. The Zerglings get in. He recalls back. Gets the obligatory cancel, but the Zerglings just running right through. Forces the recall out of Hero. Hero slaps down a Nexus before the probe is able to die. You don't have permission to die yet. You have a job to do. Think of the quarterly reports. Hero. Charge is finally finishing up. Solar. Well, without many Zerglings. What are the upgrades? 1-1 across the board. Well, +1 melee and ranged for Solar. +1 Protoss ground and armor. Hero got the armor upgrade, interestingly. More rare choice. Casual Templar throws out a storm. Bit of a death rattle. The Banelings. What am I? Is this Ice Baneling escape? Yeah, that's usually how it goes for me too in that game. But a couple no, well, okay. Just gives up. Meanwhile, some Zealots to the south. Blink Stalkers abandoned them to the north. Quite a chaotic situation, even for Hero here. But a whole bunch of Templar with very much one storm going on too. And all the fire and fury is coming together here. The Stalkers, the storm's out in front, so the Hydras can't get too close. Wading through his own storms, but the Hydras have less HP, so... Banelings coming in from the back, another wave of storms. You can dodge one, but can you dodge 8? Meanwhile, the Hydra count is dwindling. The citizens arrest, the sentry surrounded by Predator drones. Archons, though, getting involved. Meanwhile, another... What? An Archon? Okay. And alright, now we're gonna go our separate ways. Somehow another fight. The fight has continued for over 3 minutes, with Solar destroying about 2,000 more minerals. Or, I mean, Solar losing about 2,000 more minerals, but killing a little bit more gas. Solar, though, is quite close on supply, which is not where you want to be with a mediocrely upgraded mid-game composition. If you're a little bit ahead, but you have Lurkers, or a huge upgrade advantage, but here... Hero just gonna be pressing the advantage that he seems convinced he has. There's a fleet beacon back at home in the main base, which is quite original. Meanwhile, an Archon was taken down by Zerglings as we play Ring Around the Balcony. Quite an amount of space on the ground that they're both playing with here. Solar. Well, Hero now has the worker lead. He has +2 ground weapons. The Zealots running into the Banes realizes that probably a good idea. Casual Mothership in production. Overlord just throwing some gateway units out like this is a co-op map right now. Hero honestly feels like the opponent in some of the co-op maps sometimes. Here's a 8 Stalker, 8 Zealot attack timing. Here's a 4 strength, 4 stamina belt made out of leather. Crazy. Some Templar, some Archon, some charge lots, oh my. And the Hydra count is damn high, but the storms are always a massive threat. Wading back into it, the charge lots at the natural, cutting through some of the reinforcements. And more storms. Hydra's melting away. Looks like a whole bunch of acid brought in to counter this base, but is it enough to actually take out the hatchery? Meanwhile, the charge lot's mostly uncontested, slicing through 11 drones. He loses 20 probes back at home. Hero, again, committing so many units to the other side of the map that he may end up losing a base. But no! The charge lots are swinging in, the Stalkers are chasing down, and Solar is actually behind on supply. He's losing more Hydras, more drones. How? Hero may have lost almost all of the battles but he may end up winning the war. Chasing down, targeting the Hydras. What a save with the transfuse! Turns it around. The clear right click there, but hero, he maintained his nexus. A mothership! Is there an overseer on the map? No. Oh no. And the mothership. Really? This is like a campaign mission. Come on. And then the mothership shows up to save the Protoss. And hero, surprise! The biggest possible surprise. Like your mother showing up unannounced, and 2 overseers on the way. The active cloaking. If you can't see it, you can't shoot at it, with some notable exceptions. None that are relevant here. The Zerglings get in, but who's trapped in here with whom? The Templar, the Charizards getting ahead of themselves with the Templar behind. And +3 ground weapon storms as well. The Zealots going around the wrong side. And we'll get cut down and turned. And again, hero's pathfinding isn't. The Zerglings end up killing 6 probes, but even the mothership itself. That risk of crashing my... I don't know what's up with that, but... Jimmy! Knocks down a couple more overseers. I can't stress how tough of a... Well, apparently I don't need to stress how tough of a situation being even on supply with these unit compositions is, as Solar doesn't even bother playing it out from there, as it's only going to get worse. Hero strikes back with the endlessly aggressive, almost haphazard timing. It starts with the Glaive to Depths, and I don't feel like it ever really ended. Unlike Game 1, there was no lull in the action. There was no timing where we kind of went back and built up. Hero never let that happen. They slowly trickled out the tech, but there was never the opportunity to restabilize. And when the game gets thrown into chaos, Hero is a lord over. And now, somewhat ironically, we're going into Mothership. And a 3-player map that Solar is scouting the wrong direction. Is he gonna cannon? You can't cannon rush here. He's not even scouting, is he? He's not... What? Okay, well... Here we go! So it's a 1 gate. The fact that it's the point is the gate is on the high ground. He's not scouting. He's not expanding. He's really playing a 3-player map here, it looks like. Now, does he just do a 1 gate expand, which would be... That's a Wings of Liberty build. And that was pretty much because we didn't know how to expand back in the day. Not even necessarily... By the end of Wings of Liberty, I believe we were walling off the natural. Reliably. He's gonna get a Cyber Core before the Nexus. I have no idea where this is going. Once again, we're going to find out what Hero's cooking. And Hero might also find that out. Alright. Protoss not known for their culinary skills, as obviously they have no mouths. The probe. Scouting around the very What are you looking for? Overlord scout? You haven't timed out that well. Really? You think that reliably? Alright. Well, Solar knows where Hero isn't. But... And it's just going to be a Stargate. He's narrowed it down to the one location he obviously could be. And he's just getting a Stargate, which is certainly not what I expected from this. Just plays it out normal from here. I mean, what are you going to do? Make a bunch of Zerglings? Because he doesn't have a wall? The Zergling? will get shut down by the Adept before he can get up the ramp and spot the Stargate. Ooh, can we use those minerals? I'm imagining one of those, like, the tubes where you, like, blow a bunch of money around and try to catch as much as you can. But, like, with mineral shards. I feel like can't be good for you. Did you or a loved one suffer from mineral poisoning? You might be entitled to nothing. All right, that's on you. A Void Ray. Hero. Going to knock out the Overlord. And what do you got for us next? An Oracle. It appears the Overlord taken down. I'm sure it was quick and painless. With the prismatic alignment. The Adepts. Quick smooches. Hero always very creative with his patrol pathing. Hero, he's an artist, alright? He gets out his finger paints, and he starts playing Protoss. With the finger paint, alright? He goes through so many keyboards. Because he spills the paint, not because he uses the keyboard. That's the joke. That's the joke we're going with. Please clap. And, laugh. And like and subscribe. Sure. Let's just get the rest of the tech tree. We got a Stargate, and now we're gonna get a Twilight, and a Forge, and a Robo. That's the rest, alright? Check off, 100% achievement. The Adepts maybe should have been patrolling somewhere with their back to anything but a movie poster style. The Zerglings could get in, but really? Okay, the probe. Yeah. Okay, he gets in anyways. So, Solar just ends up scouting. So, Hero has everything. So now what? It looks like it's gonna be a German taxi build. You can't just go for the entire tech tree at once. I mean, he can if no one's gonna stop him. There is Overlord speed on the way. Is it time for the taxi? There it is. All right, Lucille, Susan, Karen! Karen! I'm here. Oh, well, for once, you're on time. All right. I've been here the whole time. I feel like you're just calling me out. You're judging me based on my name. We're identical twins, Karen. I'm judging you based on your actions. Sorry, whoa, the shade! Okay, so, the Zerglings, the Queens go out, the Shades come in. Solar already has a precarious economy. It's certainly, this is not gonna help. The rest of the Overlords are being led as the Shepherd Overlord is right-clicked. Oh, he's gonna drop creep! Okay, here we go. This is gonna get weird. 11 drones dead. Another Overlord drop going for the Zerglings. The Queens. We've arrived! And marching forward with a creep drop. A stasis on the way. A second stasis acts as something of a force field. The Void Ray is taken out. Blink is not quite done. +1. Also joining it. The Wall-In isn't. The Oracle is recharged. There's not many units left over here. The Corrosive Bile. Well, okay, Blink is done, but he lost most of his Stalkers beforehand. He's gonna drop in with the Zerglings. Meanwhile, the Queens are off of creep, but the Ravager count is so damn high. The Zerglings are dropping in, but the Oracle's taking him out in turn. And Hero, well... Hero lost all his probes at his third, but he did so much damage on the other side. Is Hero holding? Oh. I mean, no, he is. If he kills that queen, and energy recharge is coming off cooldown, if the Oracle has energy, then, well, the Oracle just keeps flying right by, but the Immortals are out in front, but he lost most of the Zerglings. He needs to at least take out the base. He does not recharge the Oracle, which is a bit of a mistake. Blunks in the Nexus. He's gonna dive on it. Hero. Now, the common wisdom would be that if you go every direction at once, you don't get anywhere fast. But Hero says, if I go every direction at once, I get everywhere fast. Somehow Hero holds by the skin of his non-existent teeth and by the strength of his inadmission to weakness. What? Solar with a... It wasn't perfect, and he definitely was undercut by the casual Adept Shade. But now he's down 10 workers, and Hero has everything now. He lost the third, but he had enough probes that losing a dozen probes... What are the Stalkers doing? Parade march. Sir? Alright, and we're walking, now we're going back. Yep, there's Zerglings. Zerglings just hanging out in the main. Solar has... I mean, you don't transition out of this. There is no follow-up. This is Zerg all-ins. You're all in. There's no tech that you can go for that Hero's not going to be prepared already. So, the Zerglings coming up. But the Oracle will help thin out the numbers. And Blink and +1 are already done. There is no anti-air for the Oracle, assuming it doesn't get hit by Corrosive Bile, which... The Queen's the next generation! And, well... The Corrosive Bile's finding some hits. It's almost gonna upset me more if this works. Because Hero held the first round and now is crumbling to the second, but Solar... The Queen's holding it together. The Oracle was taken out, and the Oracle is what was holding everything together, as it so often does. Hero's losing. He's already lost 18. There's a Colossus! What are you doing here? Go back to the other game. Hero blinks back into his natural. +2 ground weapons is done. And just when it looks like Solar is breaking through, Hero with the plot device Colossus. What? And again, deja vu. We've just been in this place before, losing the third base, but Hero holds again. How did he keep getting away with it? It all kind of, I know that seemed like an escalation of my emotions, but you can't just... He went for every piece of tech. Solar went all in. Solar doesn't even... He just finished the lair. And now he's got a the Colossus somehow actually made the difference. He got a Robo Bay. He's getting a Disruptor, which is certainly a rare Pokemon. We may see every unit in this series from Hero. Like, breaking out Colossi for the second time. A Disruptor. So technically the Disruptor got buffed. It now has 4 seconds shorter cooldown. 21 to 17. Thing is, so much of the time, the Disruptor doesn't get a second shot. No, if the cooldown was 5 seconds, it wouldn't get a second shot. But, well, here we go. Roaches and Ravagers, and a Drain. Fires a shot. Nope. Guardian Shield. Roaches. Nope. Hero. Up 2 to 1. There you go. Just play like Hero. Now, what did he do? What didn't he do? That's really the more important question. You know, we're going into a very appropriate Game number 4. This map is called Winter Madness. Which, you know, very descriptive. Or game number 4? Yeah, I can't even count anymore. All I'm asking is for one more like and subscribe. He sent out the probe at the beginning of the game. So, like, he didn't even wall off. It's so disrespectful. hero just out here. You know, hero playing this like it's a game. Which, crazy concept, right? Solar. Wow, Solar with the 14 hatch here. The hatch before Overlord. Getting it so quick, he skips the Overlord, does the extractor trick to get an extra drone. Hero tried to block it outright, but Solar wasn't having it. Anticipating it correctly here. No! Not today, probe. Not today. I honestly, whenever I see Hero somehow slap together those defenses, and I really don't think Solar missed his timing. It's just he didn't hit him hard enough. The probe, just you gotta get him. Come on, put him through that mineral line. I love how he's chasing it with the drone. He's just giving up. Like, this is one of those bell curve things where the lowest level players are like, why don't I just follow it with a drone so I can keep track? The highest level players are like, why don't I just follow it with a drone? Everybody else like, no, you got a micro on the mineral patches so it's not super annoying every time. Just like Hero's builds, which here you go. Here's another diagram. The Void Ray once again. To be fair, Hero only built the one last game, but it ended up being a very important part of the imbalanced breakfast as well as the defense. Let's see what Solar comes up with here. I'm feeling a Nidus. I feel like last game could have been a Nidus. It's just he didn't want it to get scouted so early. Another casual 12. I don't... Every time I'm starting to, like, look into Heroes builds, the next time I watch a Hero series, it might be later that day. I never see the build again. Like, which, I don't know... Well, that's it. That's the end of the sentence, but... Quite literally, sometimes I'm trying to figure out, okay, we'll watch another series, we'll figure out where he's going with this. Never see anything like it again for at least weeks. He's just on a completely different style. Maybe even against Solar 6 hours later in another weekly tournament. Which is probably why Solar is kind of flailing as well. This time around, is this an all-in? He's getting a Robo with the Glaives. It's Glaives first, by the way. There's no Stargate here. What it... Would the Overlord see it? The lack of oracles in his base may be a giveaway in the first place. A Roach warren on the way. That's a safety warning right there. Now, is this going to be a fake well, the best fake Nexus is a real Nexus. Yeah, that was profound. I really sell it. The probe. You know, having 3 Adepts behind here is a bit suspicious in and of itself. More Zerglings on the way. Solar's at 40 drones. Hero's at 40 probes now, so... We'll see. The Queens trundling down. Glaives is completed for just these 5 Adepts. Don't you dare! Thank you. He's gonna see the glaives immediately. Already Immortals and Blink on the way. I can't tell if herO's intentionally holding it, so the glaives aren't spotted. Not that it matters at this stage. There are roaches on the way. There is a conspicuous... That's the word of the day. That and precarious, apparently. Perchance. Can't just say perchance. Anyways. But I digress. I derailed my own train of thought. Where was I? Oh, the conspicuous lack of oracles is a revelation in and of itself. He already knows that this is ground-based here. Though, knowing herO, it easily could end up being a, like, foracles build, but Roaches and Ravagers on their way across. He's actually targeting down the Ravager. It's not a light unit, but doesn't have that much HP to work with. I'll give it a transfuse. Hey. Hey. Stand still. There's about complete. So we're up to 61 drones. As soon as you realize you don't have to deal with oracles, even if you're forced into a bunch of Roaches and Ravagers, you can kind of boom that economy. All right, get a few rounds of drones. Solar taking full advantage. I think he saw an Immortal on the other side. And if you see robo units, that means they're not fully committed to immediately doing a gateway all-in. It'll probably be a little bit later. So we're reading that correctly. Though the queens... Ooh, almost caught out. Overseer. Gonna spot yet another big gate all in. As herO. Yeah. Adept Shades. Does he complete it? Thinking about it. Right on the edge of everything. Now poking at the creep. He's got that observer right above. Taking a 4th base meanwhile. herO keeping his options open. He could literally go anywhere with this now. Very notably does not have a Stargate, so if this goes on too much longer and we get further up the tech tree, eventually, this opens up an opportunity for actual Mutalisks that we don't often see. And the reason we don't see them is because Protoss almost by default have a Stargate. Which means if they even get a hint, a whiff, and they have a keen sense of smell, a whiff of those mutas, even with the quicker spire, there can be 2-3 Phoenixes by the time the mutas arrive, which almost invalidates them immediately. It's still quite an investment. The Adepts with Glaives, the Queens. Well, a couple Adepts gonna shade their way through. Roaches and Ravagers. Gonna poke it. Looks like there's a actual edge of the map there that's making it difficult. Almost loses the Prism. The Adepts buying some time. Solar's actually at 58 drones. Just building up extractors and such, cutting into the count. But here comes Solar. Is there Storm? Absolutely not. There's not even a Templar Archives. It's just mass gateway units. Is there Bane speed? Yeah, that's it. He doesn't have any splash damage. herO gonna try to meet this head on. And this composition is literally going to melt his head off. The force fields have to be perfect. And even then, he only has 1 sentry. And, well, okay. Well, the Banelings just kind of roll by, juggling back the Immortals. The Stalker's already taking critical damage. The Immortals on their own. The War Prism way too far out. And the Zerglings are thinning out, but well,
he's dead, Jim.
herO once again limit testing. He's like, let's get the maximum amount of games to test my strategies. Asterisk. So, was this a Bane drop? I believe so. And then the Zerglings just run in. I could have done that. That was an option the whole time. Ah, Solar. We'll take it. Hero throws out another kind of casual Glaives depth build. Doesn't land. And that brings us to game 5, because of course it does. Oh, Hero. Hero giveth and Hero taketh away. From Hero, mostly. He really does make the game all about him. Solar obliges. You just didn't have... You need splash damage. You can't just fight that with gateway units. As demonstrated there, but Hero making sure that's still true. As we go into Satellite Years, game number 5, the decider. Between the #1 Protoss in the world and the, I believe, now ranked #2 Zerg. Raynor has had a bit of a rough streak and hasn't been playing much. And Solar has been kind of going back and... I think if Solar wins this, that will put him as the rank 2 Zerg behind Serral. Serral has been at the rank 1 slot for about 3 years, so if you're wondering. Both in Zerg and in general. But Solar is quite effectively the strongest player who actually shows up to tournaments that don't have a 4-digit prize pool, so that's why we love him. He doesn't have the most, like, I call him Serral's stunt double. One, because he shows up when Serral has the star power to only show up on certain days. And it's not perfect. Like, he doesn't have the perfect builds. He'll take a punch. He'll get bruised and battered. But he'll get back up and get back to work. Alright, that's why he's the Rocky Zerg. That's why he's the stunt double. But his style is most reminiscent of Serral himself. Alright. He has that much more, like, it's a very clear progression. It's obvious what he wants to go for, but if the execution's good enough, that doesn't mean you can stop it. Hero is obviously an exception for both Solar and Serral. Wait, what is this? What are you doing? Did you forget you're playing against it? Now, I get it on Mothership, but why is he not... You know, Hero, I think, sometimes forgets he's playing against Zerg. It happens so rarely nowadays. Literally, besides Solar, sometimes there are 0 Zergs in tournaments. Do I think that's what happened here? No. Do I know what Hero's doing? Also no. What do I know? That if you don't like and subscribe, then my day won't be a little bit better. I get it, though. Alright, it's kind of annoying on TV. And these YouTubers. You know what? I think it's good. In this day and age, and gestures to everything, StarCraft and beyond, to have some stability in life. I've debated, like, do we need to be original and creative, change up the intro, do something crazy, try new things? Yes, but also no. Right, having something resembling stability, consistency, something you can go back to every day or every other is worth it. Because at the end of the day, consistently, I hope it can make yours a little bit better. And I see the comments. Okay. To break the fourth wall, just like in much the same way Hero never builds one. I see a lot of comments. Heartfelt about making your day a little bit better. The kind of people who are watching at game number 5 and listening. They're not asleep. That's some of them too, but I guess I'll take that as a compliment. But I see them. I don't always respond or put the little heart or whatever. One, because I'm lazy, and two, because the poor excuses. If I do some, then I feel like I should be catching all of them. I know that's lazy. But just know I see it. This is your confirmation. Thank you for watching. I certainly hope I can make your days a little bit better. I think we could all use it. All right, hero. What's on the Barbie this time? Gonna lose our adepts? Sure. Susan, where are we going? Forward! And you... Why? I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it. Have you been talking to Lucille again? No. Sorry, I'm blacked out for a second. Now, hero has some adepts. Got a Twilight on the way. He's still... he just... Okay. Like... Oh! Here we go. Oracle time. Wait, has he been holding on to these the whole time? And this is the first reveal? I have no idea what hero's doing. Like, he is gonna get some kills. This is not enough. He doesn't have foracles. It's still quite a deplorable build, but... 7 kills. The queens? Poking and prodding and... some roaches and lynx. Does he recall the oracles? Because this is just a random amount of Zerg. Adept. Carefully navigates its way into actually dying. The oracle's gonna intercept on the midfield. Might be able to burn out the ravager. Lights it up. Gonna do a pretty decent amount of damage. And the queens are not quite there to help. And Solar made the mistake of stepping off the creep. And will be punished for it. Hydralisk den's on the way. Hero's casual oracle build once again finds an opportunity. I still have no idea why you didn't wall off the natural. Thing is, Solar has not even hinted at going for early pull. Maybe Solar has not gone early pull like this whole year against Hero. And again, I might be attributing a level of thought that is several steps too far along. Like, we already established, remember when Hero put a stasis on Banelings at his natural? And then, like 15 seconds later, those Banelings came out of stasis and rolled into his probes? Alright, so... that level of object permanence is not guaranteed here. Here's gonna attack, because anything else would be boring. The Hydras, 1 Oracle, 2 Oracles down. They wander into the Hydras. And Solar, building up the Hydra count. Still only 64 drones, which means he has to be careful. He doesn't know for sure. Did he get in? Yeah, there's a changeling right there. Have we tried talking to the Zerg? Or at all? Sorry. Spotting the Templar Archives going for Storm. Hero. Templar on the way. Now, Solar is quite committed to the Roach Hydra. It's going to be just a full-on biomass build here. The intent? To overwhelm the Templar before there's enough Storm to stop him. And the army supply is going to be heavily in Solar's favor, but of course the force multiplier that is the Templar. Hero doing what in my opinion is the right thing, which is putting the Templar out there. Well, not before Storm is done. That is clearly not the right time to do it. In fact, Solar is probably thinking his lucky StarCrafts that he got any of the Templar, but there's a Storm. Just gonna lead a trail of... Wow, the Hydra's taking a lot of damage, but exhausting most of the Templar. A fleet beacon is on the way. Back at home as well. Hero with 73 probes. Does he have energy recharge? Like 15 seconds. The sheer amount of Hydra. There's not enough units here for Hero. Another Templar coming up. Energy recharge available. Throws out a Storm. Throws it deep behind the Hydras. More Roaches coming in. The Blink Stalkers. easily dealing with the smaller groups of units. Solar starting to thin out a bit. 6 probes dead, but yeah, the Roaches, Hydras, and Lings just continuing across. Hero chasing. Another Oracle gonna be knocked down. Solar closing in. And just sniping off the Ravagers and the Roaches, but Hero with some more Templar building up energy. +2 weapons done against just +1. Those Templar, 1 or 2 storms ready. And he's ready. He just throws it out there. Stasis will save some of the Roaches from storm. The charge lots will drag a whole bunch of the army back. The Stalkers blinking forward. Throws a storm, almost a spiteful one at the end there. The charge lot split off into the third, into the natural. No Roaches intercepting. Oh, a huge storm on the ramp. More Templar. Archon's merging. Gets like 1 hit off. Gets taken down easily. Charge lots cleaned up. And now, another storm. Energy recharge still pretty far on cooldown. The Immortal will be caught. The charge lot swinging in. The Ravager somewhat exposed. Throws out the corrosive bow, but the Archon manages to glide away. The Ravager's caught up against the corner. And Solar's just done. Wow. Solar does not have a hive. He does not have upgrades. Hero has 4 bases against a barely 4-base Zerg. And he can't. He dives to try to catch the Immortal, but that gets him out of position. Just unable to break it. He did not have the economy nor the position he did in the last game. I think a bit of frustration there out of Solar, but this army was going to get cleaned up, and look at the supply immediately. So maybe a little early, but I can empathize. Just the trickle of units across. Hero kept him off balance for so long that he might even complain about balance himself, but what a... Of all the series I've ever seen, that was certainly one of them. Hero wins! As so many times I say in this exact tone of, after it's all said and done, Hero wins more games than his opponent. Which doesn't seem right, but here we are. Solar unable to really come up with an answer decisively or often enough to stop Hero from sauntering his way through the series. And yet again, the smiling assassin comes away victorious. So hopefully you enjoyed as much as I did, or even more ideally. But thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons bringing in those extra minerals. Big Jig, Devin, Door, Drac, Kate, Mario, Soup. Glad you still enjoy. And to everyone, I hope to see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill. No, wait, that's the thing I say at the end. I'm sorry. Jimmy, edit that out. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.